Hey guys, just Matt here. Hope you're well. Been really lucky to be on air this morning with Chris, having a chat through his journey so far. Started with our 6-week challenge. So, Chris, appreciate your time, mate. I know you're a busy guy. Just had a little
Welcome.
one, and spending your paternity leave talking to me. Chris, would you mind just giving our viewers a little insight into kind of maybe, obviously we'll talk about your results shortly, but anything that you want to share really around why it was you wanted to start with us?
Yeah, certainly, Matt. Well, thanks for having me. It's a break from doing the baby duty, so I'm pleased to be spending time with you right now, Matt. First of all, I wanted to say thank you, to be honest, because for me it's been life changing, which sounds dramatic, but for me it really was. So I'm a busy person, like most people are these days, but busy with work, busy with family. And just over the years, I do quite a lot of traveling. So over the years, I've put on quite a bit of weight. And weight loss was one of my main kind of targets, really. As you briefly mentioned, we had a baby on the way, and he's thankfully here with us now, baby Theo. And that was a real goal for me. We've got 3 other children, so 4 now in total. So family was like is my most important thing in life. And I realized that I was kind of just getting unfit. I'm getting older, putting on weight. So those were my main drivers. And I was just flicking through Facebook of an evening, and you popped up, Matt. I think it was like one of these types of videos that I watched, and I watched the person on there, and he was just so upbeat about how life had changed around for him, and it matched everything that I kind of wanted to be. In terms of my personal self, but just having a bit more kind of respect for myself with my family and things like that as well.
Yeah, brilliant, mate. Yeah, so at the start of the course then, aside from the things that you had in your head, was there anything that you were you apprehensive about anything? Was there anything that you sort of thought, oh, I'm not sure about?
Yeah, well, there was actually. I'd probably lost a bit of confidence in myself. I'm a very confident person, but from like an athletics side of things and like the working out, I'd probably lost a bit of confidence, Matt. I used to be a very fit person, playing a lot of sports regularly, and I've been out of that for years now. So I was a little bit apprehensive, thinking that I'm going to turn up, and I'm just going to be kind of left behind, really. But actually, it was the complete opposite. Well, not the opposite as in I was leading from the front. By no means was I doing that. But everyone was like really welcoming. And what I learned pretty soon on is that everything's personal to them. And that everyone's on their own kind of, I don't want to use the word journey, but they are, they're on their own kind of path, really. So I felt very welcomed from day one. Some people talk through kind of training, and that works for them, and there's a bit of banter going on. I tend to keep quiet because I need to concentrate. I can't do too many things at once, Matt. But I like the variation. So there's some people there that are clearly kind of really athletic and fit, and they've got a certain kind of goal that they want to achieve. And others are on a different kind of path, really, where they're just wanting to sustain where they're at. So I felt really comfortable, literally from day one. When I left, I felt really, really pleased to be part of something. Yeah. And I think actually that's what's made this sustainable for me, is being part of something. Because before I was just relying on myself, and it was so easy to make an excuse not to do stuff. Whereas when you're part of a team, which I definitely felt, it made a big, big difference to my success.
Good. Yeah, and like you say, you've done really well. So I mean, in terms of, just touch on that if you want, in terms of your results. So I'll let you tell you the results rather than me sort of take the words out.
Yeah, well, drum roll moment. Well, look, for me, it was a 6 weeks program, and that's what I wanted at the start, is to just focus on 6 weeks, because the bite-sized chunks kind of work. I've lost 17 pounds in total. I've actually lost a bit more since as well. That's probably the late nights with baby duties, but yeah, so lost 17 pounds in weight. I lost about 6.5 to 7 centimeters in my waist, and about 10 centimeters or so in my chest. So the measurements kind of speak for themselves. Yeah. And I actually, be honest, Matt, even though I think before I started, I was focused on kind of the size and measurements, I've noticed a major kind of difference in my mood. Yeah. Like the early mornings and things, getting up really early. I was getting up at like 5:20 to kind of get ready to get out. And when I come back, I was just kind of so much more energetic. And I think that's probably been one of my biggest takeaways, is is kind of how I feel about myself, not just kind of the look,
Yeah.
and those before and after photo type things, but it's just the way in which I feel. And my wife's kind of said the same as well. So maybe I was a miserable person before, I don't know, but I'm certainly more upbeat than I used to be, which is
The
great.
thing is, you got sort of what, 4 young children now, haven't you? So yeah, 4 children. So you need to, you need to have that kind of energy level, and I'm sure they appreciate that too. That with somebody who's in the house who's got more energy. So that's great. No, that's brilliant, mate. So if you were, I'm just thinking about somebody else maybe who's watching this. If you were thinking about if somebody else was perhaps in a similar position to you, what sort of things? Because I know we sort of talked about, didn't we, about waiting for that perfect time. Like, what would your sort of thoughts be around that? In terms of getting yourself going, and whether they work with us or not, but just kind of that sort of that process, that gain of momentum.
Yeah, I think you know yourself, when something's not right, and I know for me, I was always kind of making excuses just in my head, really, is, oh well, I've got this coming up, so I can't start anything. I've got that coming up, and as I mentioned to you, life happens, life events happen every day, and if you keep waiting for those events that and I'll start after, you'll never start. And I'm really kind of pleased that I didn't make that excuse in the end, and I think one main thing for me is when I signed up, there was that switch that, right, I've now signed up to something, so I don't want to kind of give up. No. And now I've kind of done the 6 weeks. I'm now looking for kind of new goals, which I can't believe that I'm even talking about, kind of competing in certain things. Your competitions coming up, those kind of things. Yeah. And I never thought I'd be in that place. But if I kept using the same excuses, I wouldn't be there now. No. And actually, 6 weeks to start with is such a small amount of time in your life. But for me, when I said life-changing, I wasn't being dramatic. It really has changed the course for me, certainly going forward. And I'm really excited about kind of the fitness side going forward, and also the food as well. I like a bit of chocolate now and again, Matt, and I think in moderation I can live with that, because I'm kind of compensating with the fitness, but I'm changing so many things with like breakfast and lunch and things like that, which I never used to eat before. So I'm probably actually eating more, but losing weight because I'm doing the right thing. So my advice is never wait.
Yeah, so we haven't really touched on the nutrition, but obviously, you obviously haven't gone through the process. You'll understand the kind of the things that we talk about and how important that is. So, and obviously the coaching website that goes with it. So, yeah. So hopefully you did find that. You've obviously found that useful.
It was a big education, to be honest. I think a lot of people probably in my situation where they used to be fit and they weren't so much anymore. Yeah. It's so easy to bury your head in the sand and you just kind of get into bad habits and things. Whereas my new habits are really good. I really enjoy kind of what I eat now. I always love to cook anyway. What I really found quite useful was your the menu options and things like that. And you're pretty flexible, and so you can kind of cook what you like within the kind of parameters. But I found those menu options quite useful. I tended to, just because I got a busy life, I tended to kind of cook a few kind of new meals and then stuck to those because I knew that they were producing results for me. Yeah, exactly. I know going forward I'll need to vary it a bit, but that helped me really. And using foods that you cook one day to kind of have for lunch the next day and things like that. Yeah. It just made sense really for my time.
Absolutely, yeah. I think, like you say, if you can make it healthier and more efficient, you're on to a winner, right? So.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, that was my biggest excuse as well. Kind of traveling so much, efficiency was always kind of key. Takeaways, things that are quick. But of course that mounts up. So this new way of kind of working is far better for me.
Yeah, good, mate. Great. Is there anything that we've not covered that you wanted to, Matt? I think we sort of touched on.
No, it's just a big thank you, really. Not just to you, Matt, although you'll take a lot of credit, but all of your team, your coaches have been fantastic. They're funny, they're serious, they've got all of the things that I think you need. I think, whilst to some extent you feel drilled, but you don't either. None of you are intimidating, and I think that is always a worry. As you think, oh, are they going to kind of pick on me or drill me where I can't do things? But equally, there's enough challenge there. Yeah. So thanks to all your team, but also thanks to all the participants as well, Matt. Everyone is welcoming, and it does feel like a real family feel. It's nice to be a part of. So certainly I'll look to continue our relationship going forward without question.
Yeah, mate, that'd be good. And then, like you say, I think what you've alluded to as well is that, like a lot of people, when we come into something initially, like the reasons why we sign up to something, whatever it may be, often are not the reasons we carry on. Like the reasons we carry on is because the way we feel about it, and also the doors that it opens. I think, like you've alluded to some of those things already. Like I think when you first start off, like the thought of doing, what you've alluded to, that fitness challenge that we're doing, like that, you don't think about that when you first start. Like that's not. It's what you're thinking about is here. But then when you get there, it's like, oh wow, I can now see there's a load of other things for me to do too, and I realise now what the benefits of being stronger, fitter, healthier, looking after myself, looking after the different areas of my lifestyle, the things, the doors that open as a result of that, I think.
I definitely agree. I totally lost my kind of competitive edge. Anyone that knows me knows that I'm a really competitive person, but over the last few years, I just lost it. And I really feel I've gained that back. And that's from going to the workouts every day. There's a few there that are quite competitive, which I really liked, and we'd stand opposite each other, and you're just making sure you're always trying to get ahead. So there is that element to it as well, which I really did like. But it was in a non-intimidating way. At the end, everyone's like high-fiving and stuff. It's good. It's a good feel.
Yeah, brilliant, mate. Listen, I really appreciate your time today, and thank you for doing that. And then we'll see you again soon.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks, Matt.